Hi everyone. Today we will be looking into polymorphism. So before we start, let's just summarize. First, we created a class ZCL underscore parent and defined few public and protected and private attributes and methods. And then we created ZCL child class, which is a subclass of the parent class. So this is ZCL parent class is the super class, and we have ZCL child class as the subclass, okay, which will inherit the parent class. Now what we will do is we will, for convenience per se, we will copy this ZCL child class into another class, ZCL child class 2, okay, so that it also inherits the same super class ZCL parent class, so which will be a sub class of ZCL parent, and it will inherit the say the attributes, methods, etc of the ZCL parent class. Okay. Now let's go to SE24 transaction, and if we see, this is the ZCL child class. So if you see in the properties, you have ZCL parent class. Sorry, it is ZCL parent class. Yeah, it is ZCL parent class. Okay, and the ZCL child class has a super class ZCL parent class, and it is inheriting the methods and attributes from the parent class. Now what we will do is we will copy this for convenience per se, rather than creating a new subclass from scratch. We'll just copy this and we will name it as ZCL child class 2. Okay, I'll select local and I will activate this subclass ZCL child class 2. Okay. So once I activate it, the new class will be like ready to be used. It's active in active state, and it has a super class ZCL parent class. Now we will practice polymorphism by calling these two different classes in the program. So let's go to SE38, and we had this program ZCL, which one it is, just I think, yeah, ZTMM call child. We will copy this. Now if you see this program, it is calling the child class over here. What we will do is we will just copy this, and we will call poly. So it will show us how to call polymorphism. I'm just reusing whatever code is already existing. So here we already had type ref to declaration for child class. What we will do is we will copy this declaration, and this child, there will be another declaration which will be pointing to the child to class. Okay, and then because they are of the same like having the same parent class, what we will do is here we will copy these two statements and make it child to child to. So the statements on row number 11 and 13 will be calling the class which will be type ref to ZCL child class, and the next two statements will be calling the ZCL child class 2. Okay, now what I will do is I will activate this, and let's put a breakpoint over here. You can watch my OOP debugging video for more debugging tips on OOP. Now what we will do is we will click this direct processing, and the debugging option, the debugger will start. Now if you double click on it, say our child, if you see it is pointing to nothing because the object has not been created. Now let's do F5. What will happen is the object will get instantiated, and if you see now it is pointing to the class ZCL child class. Now we will just click F6 and we'll execute the method for that. Now let's select this ZCL LR child 2. Now it is not pointing to any of the reference in memory. Now let's click F6 or F. Now if you see there are two variables which have been initialized, LR child and LR child 2. LR child is pointing to ZCL child class, and LR child 2 is pointing to ZCL child class 2. Okay, and the corresponding methods will get executed. Now, if you see, there is no difference between what has been called because we had just copy pasted those methods, and there is no differentiating factor because we just copied the class. Now, what we will do is we will come over here in the child class 2, and in this public method which is being called, okay, wait. Now, in the protected method which is redefined, okay, what we will do is over here we will just write a statement with some stars. This is child class 2, and we'll activate it now. Okay, WRITE will activate this, and now let's execute the same code again and we'll see the difference. Again it will be pointing to those two classes. Let's just do F8. If you see over here, now here is the difference. When the second child class is called, it is calling this method and it is saying this is child class 2. So two different codes are being called even though it is the same method. I will just write over here. Let's just do percentage percent. And I'm just giving some random special characters so that it stands out. Now, if you execute this, so here, now let's create the child 2 and call its method. So the first one was to call child, the first child class and call its method. Now, if you see over here, here it is in the public method and within the protected method again because we had redefined it for child 2 also, and within child 2 we had added this special comment which is pointing to child 2. The child 2 class is called. Now let's focus on polymorphism. What does polymorphism say? That you will be calling the code of different classes, but the type ref to variable will be of some other object. Now let us declare data LR parent type ref to ZCL parent class. Now you cannot, in polymorphism you just cannot call point objects of different classes to some random class or interface and call them. The calling type ref to variable always either has to be the super class or else it has to be the interface to which is implemented by those different classes. So now what we will do over here is, uh, yeah, we will create LR parent, create object LR parent. So what will happen is a object of type ref to LR parent, the ZCL parent class will be called. Now what we will do is, we will write a comment so that we know what is being called. Write assign the child class 1 to the parent. Okay. Now we will do LR parent question mark equal to LR child. So it will point to the first child class, and then we will call the same method again. So I've just copy pasted it for convenience per se, and instead of LR child, I will be calling LR parent. Now what we will do is, the previous method calls to the previous declarations we will comment, otherwise it will, the output will be too confusing. So the code, if you see, what it does is, there are three create statements over here. One will create an object of type ref to LR child. Second will create an object which will be type ref to the child subclass 2. And third will be the create object so that I instantiate it to LR parent, which is again the parent class. Now here what we will do in this statement is, we will assign the, we will point the LR child to LR parent. This is what is called as polymorphism, wherein I have two children classes, and now they are pointing to the parent, and I am calling the parent method. Now what will happen is, the parent method will not get called, but the child method will get called. Now let us just copy paste all this. Okay, to child class 2, I will add a different special character so that it stands out. And here again, so when it is child 1, you will see asterisks, and when it is child 2, you will see ampersands. Now this is polymorphism. I will point to different classes in the same program to a type ref to variable of the parent class or any interface if which it is implementing. And because of polymorphism, the corresponding child methods class will be called. Now we will put a breakpoint over here to see how things happen in debugging also, and what this stuff gets pointed to. Now let's start debugging. So what happens over here is, first, if you see LR child, LR parent, LR child 2 and LR parent. Now when the first statement will get executed, LR child will point to ZCL child class. This is very important. When the second statement gets executed, the second variable child 2 will point to ZCL child class 2. Now the third statement, when it gets executed, it will point to, it will point to the parent class. LR parent will point to the parent class. Now it will do a perform a write statement which will say that now we will be assigning the child 1 to the parent. Now be attentive and see what happens in this debugger. Over here, the assignments. Now let me click on F5. Now if you see over here, earlier the parent was pointing to ZCL parent. Now because I did a assignment and because of polymorphism, now the parent class is pointed to the ZCL child class. Now there might be multiple variables of type ref to ZCL child class. So if you see this number over here, this particular instance 09 is pointing to the LR parent now, because we have assigned that variable to the LR parent. Now if I execute this, it will call the method which is the public method. Once it goes in the protected method, it is type ref to ZCL child class, because in protected method we have redefined the protected method. Again, because we called a super method within the protected method of the child class, it has gone to the parent class. Once it is out, again it will print this, which is specific to the child class. Protected method completely redefined. Now it will call the private method. Because the private method belongs to the parent class, that private method will get called. And now we are back to the calling program. Now before execution of this statement at row number 30, oh, I did a mistake, sorry. Again, it is type ref to child only. We'll just execute it. Sorry. And this one should be child 2. I'll activate this and let's execute it. Let's have child 2 this, child 2, LR child 2 and LR parent. So we are back over here, and if you see, now we are assigning the child 2 class to the parent. So just before the assignment, if you see the debugger, the LR child, the first child class has 09 instance number, and the parent was assigned to that one. So it had 09 child class instance, which is assigned to this type ref2 variable. Now if I click on F5 over here, and before this type ref2 assignment, if you execute it, now the assignment has changed. So instead of 09, now the parent is pointing to 08 instance class, and which is of type ref to child 2 class. So this is what is polymorphism all about. We have declared two child class instances, and we have one parent class instance, sorry, not instance, the type ref2 variable, and we have assigned those instances type ref2 or the memory pointers to the parent class, and using the parent class we are calling the corresponding methods. Now if you see, if I execute the same statement, LR parent method pub call this method, it will go to the child class 2. So because it is not redefined, it will not call, but the protected method is redefined. And if you see over here, this is child class 2 and it is pointing to child class 2. If you see over here in the call stack over here, we were in the main program. Because the public method is not redefined, the parent class method was called, and within the parent class method we were calling the protected method, and it is redefined for child class 2. The child class 2 code is getting called. Now again, if you see over here, the private method is called, and so if you see over here, the sequence assign the child class 1 to the parent, then the public method gets called, the protected method gets called, and the private method gets called. Now the next step is to assign the child class to the parent. Now you are in the public method. The public method calls the protected method, and the protected method is redefined. for child class 2 also. So here the child class 2 code gets called, and the protected method is completely defined. That statement comes up, and calling the the private method gets called. So if you see, we had three variables. One was for the parent, which is LR parent. We never called the LR parent code at all. Then we had the child class, wherein the variable was LR child, and here for the child class 2 the variable was LR child 2. What we did was we first created the instances for LR child and LR child 2. Then we assigned the instance of LR child to the parent class, which is LR parent. Now here we have used the typeref to variable of parent class. It can be any interface also which is being implemented by the the classes, and which is common to all classes with whom you can refer to and call those methods. That is what polymorphism is all about. Now, and so once we assign the instance of LR child to the parent class, you call the method which is common by using the parent class. Since we are using polymorphism, the parent class will call the child class 1 to which it is referring to. Now, after this, again, we will repeat this, and now we will assign the instance LR child to the LR parent. Now call the method which is common by using the parent class, which is common between the child and the parent. And since we are using polymorphism, now the parent class will call the child class to code. So this is the gist of the polymorphism, that you can have multiple such child classes within your program, and you can have a common code. Now I had written it in sequence to call this, instead of this having this LR child and LR child 2, what you can do is you can have an internal table which will hold this LR child 1 and LR child 2, and then loop at that internal table, and then within the loop call the method, and it will call the method within the loop based on the typeref to child. So this also can be done, and this is what polymorphism is all about. So thank you for watching my video. Bye.